Hey, what's up everybody? On this episode of SPPTV, Mike paints an ashtray. Hey, what's up everybody? So for today's video, my plan is to start cleaning up the frame. I'm going to scrape it with a scraper and then flap wheel it and clean it all up to get it ready for paint. Also, I'm probably going to weld up that hole that I made in for the oil pan clearance. I'm also going to probably throw the brake booster in the sandblaster and clean it up, get it ready for paint. So yeah, let's get to it. Well, as you can see, it's pretty clean. It's just got rust. I scraped a bunch of it off with a scraper so that saves a little bit. And I already washed this area just with degreaser and stuff, so I got most of the dirt off. So now I'm going to hit it with the flap wheel. I know Mike enjoys the grinder shots, but I probably won't videotape grinding, but I'll show you the progress. I probably flap wheeled it for about half hour, and it's actually pretty clean now. Got most of the big rust chunks off. I'm not going too crazy, I just want to clean it up. So this is the shock mount from Suicide Doors, or Thorbeck Brothers as they're called now, for the air ride. Because it has airbags, the shocks have to go somewhere else. So I think when I put this one on, I put it on kind of crooked, sort of like this, and it was, I'm trying to look at where the cuts were, where it used to be, but it was kind of like this, and it wasn't really sitting where it was supposed to sit. So I ended up cutting it off, as you can see, and I shortened it. It was a little longer than that before. It kind of hung down to here. So now I'm going to position it so it's the same as that one. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a slot right there, and I'm going to recess this in a little bit, and then I'm going to weld it in. It'll be a lot cleaner, and the shocks will have a little more clearance. The big problem I was having is this side, not that side, but this side, the tire would rub on the shock. So yeah, I'm going to cut this out now, and then I'm going to weld it in there. Now we'll just remove this little piece, and then this is going to fit in here. It's going to be nice and tight, and then it's going to get welded in. It's all welded on. There was a hole right there in the frame. I welded that up too. And I smoothed this out because the shock goes in there, so I didn't want to have any, anything raised here. So I smoothed it all out. And then I welded it. It's kind of hard to see, but I welded on the back side all the way around. That should be way better. Should give me more clearance for the shock and everything. I'm going to do this side too. See, this is how it was. See how long this part is here. So I cut a part of that off on the other side, and then I recess it and I welded it in. So I'm going to do the same thing there. I mean, I welded this on about 15 years ago, so it never went anywhere, but I think it'll look better if it's recessed in like that. Plus, I never welded along the back side, so it's easy to cut it off. So now I'm going to do this side, and then that'll be awesome. All right, so I got the other one all recessed and welded in. So here it is. What I actually ended up doing on this side is I just cut this piece longer, like I didn't cut as much off, so that I got rid of that hole altogether, so I didn't have to weld the hole up. But that turned out really good. Should give extra clearance in there, should be nice. Here it is from the back side, and then here's the other side. So that turned out good. I'm really happy with that. And then I got the frame pretty clean. There's still a few spots I want to go over. Like I said, I don't want to go too crazy. I got to clean up here still a little bit, on the other side a little bit, and then I got to weld up that hole in the frame still, but I never got around to doing that today. We're going to get on that tomorrow, and I'm going to continue this video tomorrow and probably do some sandblasting and stuff too. So yeah, tomorrow we'll do some more work. All right, so now it's the next day. The first thing I'm going to do today is I am going to fill up that hole. So I already made this template here. So now I'm going to trace it onto some metal and cut it out and then fit it and weld it in. Alright, so there's the piece. I kind of bent it and profiled it so that it'll fit in that hole. Now I'm going to fit it in there and tack it in. Got her all welded up now. It's kind of dark, but you get the idea. There you go, now you can kind of see there. So just this area right here. I smoothed it out so that, you know, to keep it as flat as possible. So I have all the clearance. So that turned out pretty good. I'm happy with that. So that's welded up now. And, I don't know what I'm going to do next. To think about that for a minute. I got it all cleaned up, the frame, and I put 2 coats of primer on it. I think it actually looks really good. Some of the spots I couldn't really get in to clean the scaly rust off, but whatever. It's still pretty clean. That's kind of was my objective, not to have like loose rust all over it. So now I'm just letting that dry, and then I'm going to grab some paint, and I'm going to paint the firewall, and I'm going to paint the frame. 2 coats so far. Frame I went a little heavier, but on the firewall I'm just putting it on light because I don't want to get any runs, hopefully. But so far she's looking pretty good. Just wait for this to dry and then throw on another coat. It's now the next day. Ended up painting the frame. I put like 4 or 5 coats of paint on it. Pretty smelly in here after, so I just went in the house. So I'm out here now. Here's how it turned out. I think it turned out pretty nice. I went with like a semi-gloss satin black, which I think looks really good. One of the first things I'm going to do is sandblast the power brake booster so that I can paint that. The wiper motor can go back on now because that doesn't need to be painted. I can clean up the engine mounts and paint those, kind of start reassembling some stuff. And start getting this thing back together so I can get the engine in. Here's a before of the power brake booster before I throw it in the sandblaster. And then I'll show an after shot. Clayton also cut my oil pan the other day. This is mine. It's actually cut 1/4 inch more than the one for the shit horse. I also got to get on welding that maybe this weekend. And the pickup tube and whatnot. I actually sandblasted the engine mounts too while I was at it. There's the booster all sandblasted up. Looks pretty good. I also sandblasted just these bolts that actually go in here for the upper control arm. Figure I might as well clean them up and give them a paint before I throw them back in. The only other thing I've noticed with the power brake booster, grab the other one here, is that the original one, shaft on it is like 7.5 inches, I think. And the one on this one is only 5.5. I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to cut this part. Cut just this nub off right here. And then I'll cut off the excess that I need off that one, and I'll have to take them together. So I'm going to measure that out and do that now so that I can start painting that stuff and put it back on the truck. I cut the one off the old one, and I welded this piece of tubing to there so that it's not just butt welded, it's actually got a sleeve. And I cut it off cut the old nub part off. And now I just have to weld that on, and that'll be perfect. So there you go. That's way stronger than just welding the 2 pieces together, putting a sleeve in there. And that's welded good, and that's the right length. And now it'll bolt right in. So now it's time to paint. I got the booster and the mounts and everything painted, and I actually put them on the truck. So here's how everything looks. I put the mounts on with washers and bolts, and then lock washers on the other side with a little Loctite. So hopefully they shouldn't come loose. And then there's the booster. Turned out pretty good, and I got the master cylinder on. I just have those lines on there right now, but I'm going to end up changing them because I'm going to go with an adjustable proportioning valve because I'm putting disc brakes on all the way around. So those are just there so it doesn't leak fluid out. So there it is. Next, I guess I'm going to start working on the other front end parts, getting those cleaned up and painted, steering box and all that kind of stuff, so I can get it back on the truck, get the wheels back on. But of course, I'm going to be doing those brakes soon. Clayton's going to take the rotors to work and do the machining on them. Hopefully he'll make some video of that. He's also going to make the brackets. We have the diagram for how to make them. He's going to machine those at work too. And And then when that stuff comes back, my caliper should be here by next week. And then I'll modify the spindles, put the whole brake system together, so you'll get to see that. That should be pretty cool. Next time I come outside, I'll probably be working on more cleaning and painting and getting the front end back together and all that kind of stuff. Until next time, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll check you later.